website for individuals to watch and share with others. But we're very pleased that you could join us today. We're going to hopefully be able to direct you to some resources. There's a ton of resources available right now and more coming online. And I know part of the difficulty that many business owners are having right now is just kind of sifting through it to figure out, what is available. We have with us this afternoon Tyler Rossmessler from the Genesee Flint Chamber. We have Janice Mueller from the SBDC Genesee County area. We have Stacy Sherman with SBDC from the Bay region as well. So welcome to each of you. And I know, Tyler, you have another call that you have to get to. So what I'd like is if you could just kind of briefly tell us a little bit about what the chamber is able to help with for folks that are scrambling to try and find something to keep their business alive.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks for this opportunity. Hi, everyone. It's scary times out there. Our hearts go out to you, and I hope today can be helpful for you. A couple things that I would like to offer for your awareness. That on flintandgenesee.org, there is a resource page where we've put together links of all the information as it is evolving for you as small business owners to be aware of. So if you get a chance to go to our resource page on flintandgenesee.org, it's right there on the front page, you'll see it. That's a great place to get some information on a lot of different programs because like Scott said, it's constantly changing and it's all flying at you left and right. We are a clearinghouse for you, so I would love to take any questions. I unfortunately have to jump off, but if you want to give us a call or reach out to me, Scott could share my information with you. I have a very long last name, so my email is very difficult, but it's T Rossmessler, ROSSMAESSLER at flintandgenesee.org. And we want to help you, so we'll do whatever we can to help. A couple things I'd also like to present. We're doing some bi-weekly webinars, which is what I've got to jump on, another one of those, to answer questions and help people. We're also recording those, so those are available. On our website, well, the state of Michigan has a program called the Pure Michigan Business Connect. And normally this program connects buyers and suppliers. So if you're thinking of like an automotive situation, normally tier 1 supplier might need tier 2s and 3s. This program connects buyers like that tier 1 with the tier 2s and 3s. But they've converted that program at the state to help meet the needs of COVID-19. So if you are a company that has the ability to retool and create needed medical devices and PPE equipment, there are grants available for the retooling. That's available on the Pure Michigan Business Connect. I'll give you the website in a moment. And then if you are a supplier and you have PPE that you are able to sell or distribute, you can also list that availability there. And if you're an organization that needs a donation, be it PPE or food or whatever, you can also list those needs there. So that's a great resource statewide. The website is pmbc.connect.space/COVID-19. And that's where you can find more information about these programs. That's where you can find where you can list your supplies if you're able to help out in the response to COVID-19. It's a great place to start. On our website, flintandgenesee.org, we also have a local marketplace where companies and individuals and organizations are listing what they have and what they need, trying to make connections locally. So those are two resources that come right to mind. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And then we're going to kick it over to Janice and Stacy, who know a lot about the Small Business Administration's loans and access to capital programs. They are experts, so good luck to them in explaining all this. And please take a listen. I mean, they're going to talk to you about many different programs, and we're available to help as well. But I unfortunately do have to jump off. And Scott, thanks for having me. Anything we can do to help, let me know. And Janice and Stacy are going to be the experts on getting working capital.
Thank you very much, Tyler. We appreciate that.
Okay. Bye,
And we will be posting information with regard to this call. We'll post the meeting on our website and our social media as well. Again, if anybody has any questions, we can be stacking those up. Text me at 248-408-0200. Again, 248-408-0200. I know we've got quite a few people on the call, and that's great. And like we said, we'll be posting this. We have a Facebook page for the township that we'll post this video on, and there's a few other sources that I'll tell you about here shortly. But Janice, maybe you can go first and just kind of outline what the SBDC is, and for folks so that they understand it's free service and what you great people do for business owners.
Excellent, thank you. And I'm probably going to take lead, and Stacy's going to be back up on some other stuff, and she can fill in if I miss anything. I wanted to say thank you for organizing this, and welcome to all the businesses that are out there. As Tyler said, we're all in this together, and in order to move through, you have to just be calm. Do not make decisions in panic, and recognize there is people out in the community to help you. I am the regional director for the Michigan SBDC, which is the Michigan Small Business Development Center. We cover the territory of 7 counties on the I-69 trade corridor: Shiawassee, Genesee, Lapeer, St. Clair, Tuscola, Huron, and Sanilac counties. I always have to think about those. And we're here to help all small businesses. We are a free service. We are funded with taxpayer dollars at the federal level from the SBA, as well as through dollars from the MEDC. I and the team that supports the I-69 trade corridor are housed at Kettering University, but we cover all counties in the area, and we work with all small businesses. Since 1984, when we've been tasked to help small businesses, we do consulting and training as our mission to help small businesses. During this COVID-19 crisis, we are the front line managing your help needed for all the programs that are coming out and helping with the SBA. We are not the SBA. We don't make those lending decisions, but we work with them. We are on the federal calls every day. As information is coming out, we are breaking it down and distilling it so that you, the clients, can have an understanding of what's available. So first of all, our website is michigansbdc.org. Extremely important. Go to that website. We have a lot of information. At the very top is a big red banner that says COVID-19. That is an area, if you click on that, that is updated hourly as information is changing. It has all the links to all the programs we're going to discuss and has fact sheets on all of it. We also have, as you scroll down on the main page where you come in and you don't click on COVID, you can click on training. Training is really important. As the information is coming out, we recognize you as business owners and managers have to make decisions based on information. We are putting out webinars every single day that are directly relevant to the information you're getting at the moment, whether it's how to manage a cash flow crunch, understanding unemployment, understanding HR issues, and each of these programs, we are pumping out information. These webinars are every day at 2 o'clock, but they're recorded. So if you click on the training link, you can go to the on-demand library and see all the COVID information. We also have other core services that we offer normally that are available. And then we also have consulting that's available. Again, from the main page, you could register for consulting. As we're going to talk about the programs in general now, we know that everybody's going to have specific questions based on their individual businesses. It is important that you get counseling from us. We can help kind of suss out the information, but again, you will be needing to rely on your professional help, i.e. what your banks are offering and what your CPA is also recommending. There are long-term implications of these. There's tax credits. It becomes very complex, and we don't want you to lose out on an opportunity to benefit from any of the programs. All right, that being said, let's talk about all the cool things that are available to you at the federal level.
Stacey, if I can just, I've got a couple of people that are asking, what is that website? And they may be wanting to look at it while you're talking, but it's actually sbdcmichigan.org. So you're going to go Sam Boyd David Cat Michigan.org. And so anyways, that will be the site that you kind of outlines a lot of these programs. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Stacey, but go right ahead.
Janice, this is Janice.
I'm sorry, Janice.
That's all right. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the programs in a general sense. There are several different ones that are coming out, and I guess I'll start with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, EIDL. This is a direct loan that is available through the SBA. This is a loan that has a built-in deferment period of 11 months, so the 12th month after you've signed a promissory note is when your first payment would be due. All small businesses are eligible for this in the state of Michigan. There is a very simple process with which to apply, which we'll get into in a minute. It is a loan. It is based and can be extended up to 30 years. It is a working capital loan. It is meant to pay for 6 months worth of fixed expenses. There is an interest rate that is 3.75, and it is able to be spread over 30 years. Each case will be decided at the SBA level. Obviously, with the less money you borrow, it might be a tighter turnaround, but it is very affordable for a business. You are eligible if you have fewer than 500 employees. You can have a sole proprietorship or contracting company, independent contracting company, a cooperative. You can be a for-profit business or a nonprofit business. You just have to be a small business, which is generally under 500 people. 500 employees. You are able to borrow up to $2 million. There is a requirement that you're going to be able to pay the loan back. So obviously, if you're only doing $100,000 worth of revenue a year, that is not what you would borrow. They are going to make determinations for about 6 months of working capital based on your fixed costs. This loan is open right now through December 31st of 2020. That may change, but there is no pressing need to apply today. You have time to think and work through the different programs to determine which program is best for you. If you have been injured because of COVID-19, which is pretty much most businesses, you can apply for this loan. And I'm going through a lot of information, making sure I don't miss anything. They have a website, sba.gov/disaster. If you type in that, you will see a banner. It's a bright yellow banner at the top that says COVID-19, apply for economic injury relief. You are able to make this loan to pay for working capital, i.e. fixed cost. It can cover payroll, it can cover insurance, it can cover mortgages and loans, and it's meant to be able to make sure that you as a business are cash flowing so that when we get out of this disaster, you can start building back your business. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything on my notes. Stacy, am I missing anything on that so far? Okay.
Stacy, you're unmuted. I wasn't sure if you muted yourself. Go ahead, Stacy.
Have I missed anything yet, Stacy? Okay.
Do you have more that you're going to say on the EIDL?
Yes.
Okay.
The EIDL.
I'll wait till you're.
Okay. The EIDL is is meant to get you moving. There is a part that's just recently come in that is an advance on your EIDL loan. So if you apply for an economic injury loan to cover your fixed cost during this crisis, you will get to a question that asks you if you would like to apply for a up to $10,000 advance on that loan potential. I would mark that, and it's on page 4 of the current application, as a yes. That will be if a forgivable grant based on everything that we're seeing. It's really important that you check that box if you need immediate cash now. Applying for an EIDL does not preclude you from entering into some of the other programs that may be available that we haven't discussed yet. You as a small business need to look at what your capital needs are during what we're terming a figure of 6-month space. Again, this is a loan, 3.75 interest. Term can be stretched to as long as 30, and then it is repayable. And you have to recognize that you're taking on a debt. Part of the criteria is that you're going to have the ability to pay back the debt. Stacy,
Yeah, I do
want to
have one
add some
thing.
things? Yep.
Yeah, so one thing I would add is if you've already applied, go to the site now, and if the application looks different from what you submitted, this is the 3rd iteration of this application. If you applied with one of the first 2 application types and you want to be considered for this, they're calling it an advance, but the grant, that up to $10,000 advance that can be forgiven, if you want to be considered for that, you will have to fill this new application out again. So you'll know if you go to the site and it looks completely different from what you filled out before. And also if you filled it out, one of the other applications and it didn't ask the question, they were supposed to have emailed everybody who had applied previously to let them know this, but a couple of people that I'm working with that had applied with one of the older versions did not get that email. So just to make sure that you're aware, if you applied before this week, you will want to go back in and reapply and check that box if you want to be considered for that advance.
One of the things that I just wanted to also to alert everybody, if you have questions, we're going to hold questions off for a few minutes. But if you want to ask a question, what I would do is text me, and the number you want to text to is 248-408-0200. Again, 248-408-0200. Send your text question to that number. And after we give a brief presentation on what products are available, we will go to questions and answers. Okay. Thank you, Susan.
Okay. Thank you. So that covers the economic injury disaster loan. You're going to hear that called the EIDL loan or also the EIDL loan. When you apply for the EIDL loan based on the current application, it's a very simple application. The only financial questions they're asking you right now is your 12 months revenue and 12 months cost of goods. Other documentation will be needed in the future, but it's a really simple format. And on page 4, make sure you check the box if you're interested in an advance on this loan that will be forgiven. That portion is forgiven.
Janice, where somebody's asking about that box that you checked, that's on the application itself?
It is on the application. I believe it's on the 4th page. So the first question is, do you meet this criteria? And you'll check a box. And then the next page, I think, goes into describe your business and some financials. The 3rd goes into some personal stuff. And then I think the 4th page is where there's a bunch of questions where you're affirming that you're not lying, you're not making up stuff, you're not going to commit fraud against the government. And there is a box there that says, are you interested in obtaining an economic disaster injury grant or advance? Emergency advance is what they call it, for up to $10,000. Check that button as yes.
Okay.
It's a checkbox. It's really important because that was added when the president signed the bill on Sunday for the CARES Act. And if you, as Stacy applied last week, the ball game has changed. Reapply today. It won't mess up where you are in the queue of being approved, but it will allow you to check that box for the grant. Very important because we don't want anybody losing out on any potential forgivable piece of this.
Right.
Okay. Stacy, I think we've covered everything on that. I'm going to move over to the PPP now.
That's
sounds
the
good to
Payroll
me.
Protection Act, right?
Yes, the Payroll Protection Act is a new program, also part of the bill that was signed on Sunday by the president. Now, I'm going to tell you a little history. When the president signs a bill, there is mass political media press conferences saying, look what we did, we're going to get this out, and it's ready, ready, ready. You guys all got that this week. Everybody's like, it's ready, ready, ready. What needs to take place is Treasury, who manages the money, had to write up their plans for it, and the SBA has to write up these standard operating procedures and rules, instructions, and policies. So from the time the president signs it to today, Treasury has put out what they think it's going to look like. SBA has yet to finish writing the standard operating procedures. The entire SBA is rewriting their regs to manage this funding pool. So it's imperative that you're patient. Treasury put out information yesterday. SBA is still writing regs, so we need to make sure we follow whatever rules come out with SBA. In the Treasury report, they say it'll be activated by the 3rd. We are hopeful that that will be the case. As of today, they're still writing procedure. Banks have not been trained, so we want to make sure that you realize you don't have to apply today. This is something that might take a couple of more days to get filtered through to the bank, and everybody can get on the same plan.
So Janice, this is going to come through the banks, right?
This is a program that comes directly through the banks. It's a cash flow assistance. It's 100% federally funded and guaranteed loans for businesses to maintain their payroll during this emergency. So if you maintain your payroll, the loans will be forgiven. They are allowing up to 8 weeks for coverage of payroll. And I'm going to get into a little more specifics of that. But when you're looking at which program is best and how to utilize them, 8 weeks is what you're looking for on the PPP. So the bigger your company, and if you're keeping your employees, or you're going to bring them back off of unemployment, PPP is an option. If you are keeping your employees and you might need working capital to maintain them, you can apply for EIDL. You will also be able to utilize both programs, but we're going to get into that in a minute. First of all, there are no SBA fees, and there is a 6-month deferral before the first payment is due. And there is a 0.5% on this for the payroll protection loans. And there is a forgivable portion. So if you bring back your people and they're working for 8 weeks, you can have this loan forgiven. So first off, who is running it? The banks are responsible for this program. While SBA is involved, they're working with SBA approved lenders to work through this program. So look at your bank. Ask them if they are an SBA lender. Are they participating in this program? Very important. They're still working through the mechanics. I expect them to work through the mechanics all week. Then maybe by Monday they'll be ready to go. So just be patient with your bankers, be patient with the plan, but this is something where you can start to gather your information to figure out how you can utilize this program and others to benefit yourself. Okay, so this is an information share. All of this information is available as we know it on our website, on SBA's website.
As well as a list, Janice, of the SBA approved banks.
Those are changing by the day, and so I believe there is an email list we have internally that we know of, but that is changing because many bankers want to participate and are signing up for SBA. So that is an evolving process, but if you have a banking relationship, ask them if they're participating in this. Okay, that would be the easiest mechanics to do it rather than put out a list that changes by the time you receive the email.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So businesses who are applying for the PPP, Payroll Protection Plan, I'm just going to use acronyms because I'm tired of talking. They have to have been in operation as of February 15th, 2020. So if you started on January 1st, you're eligible. If you started on February 16th, you are not. Okay, so you have to have some eligibility requirements. They have to be a small business concern based on the size of the business, which is generally 500, but depending on your industry, there's specifics. The bank will know what those specifics are. They're on the SBA website as well. They change based on the industry you're in. Individuals who operate a sole proprietorship or an independent contractor or are eligible self-employed individuals can also apply. Okay, you are only allowed one PPP loan for your business. Okay, so you can't come back and say, gee, I need more money. You apply for it here and it's based on the criteria. Okay, so you can't come back and say, I want a second PPP loan. Okay. You do not have to have a denial, which is usually required. It's called an affiliation rule. That rule has been waived for this program. So you just go to your bank. If they're an SBA provider, they can do this program. Okay. There are size determination. The maximum allowable size for the 8-week payroll is $10 million. If you were in business from 2019 to June 2019, your max loan is equal to 250% of your average monthly payroll costs during that time period. Okay, and again, it's getting into specifics. These are all outlined on SBA's website under the PPP line. If you weren't in business last year, your max is equal to 250 for what you've been in business this year. So from January 1st to February 29th. They are trying to make sure that everybody is being able to cover this. Okay. If you took out an economic injury disaster loan between February 15th and June 30th of this year, you can refinance that loan into a PPP. So if you apply for that other loan that we just talked about, there's a refinance tool that allows you to just pay it off by utilizing PPP. But remember, if you are utilizing PPP, you have to have your people back. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more on that. The costs that are eligible under the term payroll include compensation, wages, commissions, similar compensation, tips, payment for vacation, parental leave, family, medical, and sick leave, allowance or dismissal of separation, payment required for group health, insurance premiums, and payment of retirement benefit. So it's broader than just the hourly pay or the wages that you pay somebody. So when you're looking at that 250% of 8 weeks of payroll, that includes a lot of things. It also includes payment of state and local assessed compensation taxes. So that is also included in that. What is payroll? Okay. You're also able to get some additional costs to cover some fixed payments on mortgage and costs that are outside of payroll. Important that you're looking at the program and look at the documentation and figure out which plan is best for you. Okay, it's 8 weeks. It's a forgivable portion, and you just will, at the end, there's a criteria, you report that, yes, I kept my employees working, I got the 8 weeks payroll, and I got a little bit of mortgage payments and some fixed costs. The payroll compensation will be forgiven, and the mortgage and other payments may only be forgiven at 25%. Okay, so this would then be a loan that is a max term of 2 years, and it's at 0.5%, which is pretty good money. So if you are able to bring back your employees and they can benefit, you can benefit by paying them, this could help you. I caution people to think about their employees. If you have a low wage earner, Example, a restaurant that pays somebody minimum wage. You had to lay them off because you were shut down. Based on the new rules on unemployment, that employee may be making more money now on unemployment because of the new program. The program takes the Michigan allotment and increases it by 600. So for example, my brother applied and got $351 a week. Under the new program, he is now going to get $951. So if your employees are laid off and you have to look at their financial well-being, or you bring them back and you pay them at what they were getting, you might get some pushback from the employees who are trying to navigate a crisis situation on their own. So we just like to caution that. The businesses will look at their numbers and figure out what way works best for them. You're going to look at your mortgage cost and how much of that can get covered on this loan. Okay. It's important that you are constantly looking at the alternatives. So compare, how do I use EIDL and what does that look like? What does it look like with PPP? You can combine them. Okay. If you get an EIDL, you can also get a PPP. However, you cannot double dip on the same employees for the same time period. Okay. So if you're going to get paid under the EIDL, for fixed costs tied to payroll and wages, and then you're going to turn around and go for PPP, they need to see if those people got paid. Okay, you are going to have an affidavit that you have to sign and provide documentation that you brought them back. Go ahead, you have a question.
Yes, what about the sole proprietors? Are they able to collect under this as well?
Yes. Sole proprietors are if, and I'm looking at the language now, hang on a second. Yeah, as far as I can see, and sole proprietors and independent contractors are also able to do it. Individuals who operate a sole proprietorship, an independent contractor, and eligible self-employed individuals can work under this.
Right.
Okay?
So just a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, again, if anybody has any questions, text me at 248-408-0200. Again, text me at 248-408-0200. And also the website for Janice and Stacy is S as in Sam, B as in boy, D as in dog, C as in cat, Michigan.org. And some of these things that we're going through are actually, or probably all of them, are laid out on that website, so you can follow along on there. You also probably want to consider scheduling a consulting with some of the fine folks. It's free. If you go down about a third of the way down the page, you'll see an oval button that says schedule a business consultant. And you click on that button, a map of Michigan pops up, and over to the right-hand side, a drop-down menu shows up that has every county listed. Click on your county. Obviously, probably just about everybody on this call is from Genesee, although I did see somebody from the Netherlands clicked on here. But anyways.
That's great.
So you click on your county and you actually put in your email address, and I believe probably within 24 hours, you'll get an email response back, and hopefully set the time for a phone call where you can walk through these with one-on-one with one of the business consultants.
And we're going to ask for your patience when you sign up for counseling. We are inundated, just like there might be 50 people on this call. All you have to do is drive through Genesee County and every other county. We have a huge influx of people, so be patient. We're getting to you. We're taking them as first come, first serve. We're doing our best, so we might send you some information to dig into, and then we'll have a call with you. So prepare and read the information, because it's important so that you're thinking about making the best decisions for your business. Every business is different. If you're a mom and pop bakery and have 2 people working for you, you want the fastest, easiest program for you, but you're also recognizing that maybe somebody's on unemployment and you want to keep them there because it benefits their family better. We're going to take that as we can with you and walk you through the process. Okay. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the other items that you can put into the PPP loan. We talked about payroll, we talked about the health benefits, wages, taxes. You can also put in payments of interest on any mortgage obligation, rent, utilities, and interest on any other debt obligation that incurred before the covered period. So again, there's 8 weeks worth of those items you can roll into this loan. Okay. Now, again, we talked about 2 years, 5%, 0 fees, 0 prepayment fee. So your business gets started, let's say June 1st, we all get started and you got a big chunk of cash came in because everybody wants to go to your restaurant. You can prepay this off. Okay, everyone wants to know about the forgiveness portion. Forgiveness on a covered loan is equal to the sum of the payroll cost incurred during the 8-week period. And those payroll costs include those items we've talked about. In order to get the forgiveness, you have to apply for forgiveness through your lender. So your bank your lender forgives the loan. And the SBA pays the lender for this. So the SBA is supporting all of this through the Treasury and that CARE Act. They will require documentation verifying that the number of employees on your payroll and pay rates match, and they're going to check against state income, payroll, and unemployment filings. So if you're honest, you're going to get it forgiven. If you're not, you're going to be dealing with the federal government for fraud. So please be aware that you want to make sure there is reporting requirements. Pay attention. You're going to have to turn in payroll information. They're going to look at Social Security information. So if you get a PPP loan and you don't bring back those employees, you're going to have a problem. Okay. You'll have to have a certification from somebody in your business that says that the information is true, and then verification of payments covered on mortgage obligations, leases, or utilities. So asking for forgiveness requires some paperwork documentation, but not a bad plan. Okay.
Janice, quick question.
Yep.
In terms of scheduling a business consulting, not to interrupt, but somebody's asking about the confidentiality of your business consultants, you know, if they share all their personal and business information with you.
Okay. Everything we do is at no charge, and everything we do is confidential. It is a benchmark. Part of why we ask people to register is because it binds us with confidentiality. If Sam Smith comes to me and says, I have to tell you all my deepest, darkest secrets about my business, I'm with somebody internal only to BDC, but we cannot share them with anybody else without written approval. Okay. So if you say, oh, here's what I'm going through and I want to figure this out, I'm not sharing that with the neighbors. I'm not putting that on Facebook. We do welcome you to like our Facebook page because that's where we're pumping a lot of information, but everything we do is confidential. In order for us to give you the best advice, we need you to trust us. That confidentiality is imperative in that trust relationship.
Okay. Relating to what you're talking about right now, just this question relates exactly to what you're talking about. And I want, with regard to the UBT, going back to the scenario with an employee who will get more on unemployment than being put back on payroll with their employer. If the employer does use either loan for keeping their employees on the payroll, will that employee be required to be paid from the employer and not continue with unemployment benefits?
Yes. If you say that Janice Mueller is being brought back at her salary of $20 an hour and I'm using PPP to pay for those 8 weeks, yes. You have to bring Janice off of unemployment. The employee may balk at that, but if they're getting paid their usual wage, they're going to survive this because they're going to be sitting at home not working and getting paid. Okay, it's a benefit. You would then just have to file that you've called them back to employment through unemployment. And that piece, I believe, is being worked out because the unemployment process is all under revision as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are only allowed to take one PPP loan. Okay. And it is based on tax identification number or your federal ID number. So if you have 6 restaurants all filing separate tax documents, you can get one PPP for each tax identification number. Right? Each loan will be registered. Yep. It's all tied to the TIN number, federal ID number. and we don't want you to we don't want multiple loans going to the same entity. They all have to be separate with separate tax filings.
Okay.
Make sense? So
Yep.
anybody who is currently doing SBA lending in the region is eligible to participate for PPP. So you can coordinate your PPP with other economic injury disaster loans. You can work on both, but you can't utilize the funds to pay the same people. So you have to use, you can't use that PPP for the same purposes as your EIDL. So if you brought me back under PPP, you can't claim me as needing fixed costs for my payroll under EIDL. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So they work in conjunction with each other, and you cannot duplicate the use for PPP and EIDL. Okay. Very important that you know that.
So Janice, some of these questions when I'm just going to throw it out there because you're on this topic, but this person's messaging me again. If anybody has any questions, text me at 248-408-0200, 248-408-0200. But saying they own a healthcare and hospice company in the area. They have a lot of employees who no longer have patients and community liaisons who are not allowed into facilities anymore. What's the best route? Just keep them on payroll or unemployment?
That is going to be based on how you run the numbers. What is 8 weeks of all the cost for payroll? What is their cost for insurance? What is their cost? Figure that out. What you figure based on them working is going to get you on a loan. Then you figure out your mortgage interest payments, your debt interest payments during 8 weeks, and you also figure out your lease and your utility costs, because all of those can be wrapped into this loan. Then you make a determination on what is best for you or your company.
Yeah.
If you recognize that people, maybe 90% of your population has no other income, and maybe their spouse or significant other lost their job too, maybe they need the unemployment. And again, you might not want to claim that one person if it's a special case. You can claim all or partial from what we're understanding. Again, programs being worked on. And I think that we have a social responsibility as business owners to look at what is best for the company to get you fully functioning again in June, but yet recognize that we're all humans suffering great tragedy right now. And I think taking a look at that and figuring out what works for you is the best method to do that.
Janice, does this PPP work for 1099 contract employees as well?
Yes. Sole
Okay.
proprietors, independent contractors, and eligible self-employed individuals.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One thing to clarify too, I know some people are getting confused on the programs there. You know, the counties were given money from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I have somebody saying, hey, it's saying that the application process is closed for what?
Okay,
And,
let me
based on
address that.
Yeah, I just want to tell people that's something totally different than what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
The MEDC business relief grants and loans were funded at a state level. That is the Michigan Economic Development Center. They were hosted by the county. So Flint and Genesee had those, the whole I-69 trade corridor had those closed. They will be notified tomorrow if they got it. That is a state program, one-time quick hit. This is a federal program open to everyone across the United States who apply for it based on your business. The programs I'm talking about are federal. So the grant process with the state has closed, so has the loan process. Those people will be notified tomorrow in writing via email per what Tyler said earlier. This is over and above that. So let's say you get the grant. If you still have cash flow needs, you can apply to any of these that we've talked about today.
The grants, just so that everybody realized they didn't miss the boat or anything, because in reality,
Wow.
there was only $10 million available for the whole state in terms of loans, 10 million for grants.
Yeah.
For
Tiny
example,
bucket.
here in Genesee County, I recall they had 1,400 applications. So if they divided that money up equally, you'd get $150.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're dividing it up, but the bottom line is the real money that you can get is from these programs that Janice is discussing right now, the
Right.
PP and the loans and what have you.
Yep. And so the EIDL is an economic injury disaster loan. That is a loan that says, hey, I'm going to have 6 months of cash flow that I need covered. I need working capital for my fixed cost. Attached to that is the EIDL emergency advance, which will be forgiven. So you will see it termed as an advance or as a grant. That is federal. That is at a federal level. The PPP also at a federal level. This is where the Treasury put money in. SBA is writing the rules and your bank manages the program. Okay. Is that clear for everybody? Okay.
Again, if anybody has any questions, text them to me, 248-408-0200.
I love it. We're all Johnny on the spots. Okay. There is yet another program. This one is, and I'm looking for my sheets so I keep track of all the ones that we're working on. Protection. Okay. There is a small business debt relief program that is available. So if your business has a currently existing prior to this emergency 7A loan, you went to your bank, they did it through SBA, you have a 7A, a 504, or a micro loan, they are providing 6 months of debt relief. You would need to work with your lender that you did the SBA loan with, and they are suspending those payments for 6 months. The bank will be paid directly by SBA. Okay. The relief is available also to people who take out loans under the 7A, 504, or micro loans from now and within 6 months of the president signing the bill into law. So there are several options available through the bank. So first of all, March 27th is the last date for anybody having to make a 7A payment. And if you mailed your payment on March 28th for your 7A loan, the bank will call you and ask you if you want it back because the payment has been suspended and it's being taken care of by SBA, or if you want that to apply to your principal. So if you already have this loan, you are getting a suspension of payments for 6 months, i.e. someone else is paying the bill. So if you already have a 7A loan on the books, a 504 loan, and we're hearing micro, again, waiting to see it translate at the banking level and get the firm verbiage on micro, you can have 6 months of suspended payments. So that means that you're not paying for 6 months. Additionally, you have the ability to go and apply to your bank. Let's say you work for Oxford, want to go to Oxford Bank, and you say, oh, look, I'm looking at this 7A loan. I want to refinance my building and maybe do it with a 7A. You can do that and also get 6 months suspended payment. Lots of opportunities. You just have to sort out what you're facing and what life is going to look like once we go back to work.
Janice, does the in terms of like the EIDL, or I think that's how, does that require a personal guarantee on or liens on your assets?
Originally, when we came out, we were told that anything under 25,000 does not need to be secured, and anything over 25,000 up to 2 million does. We do not know if that. I've heard rumors that that has been lifted, but we want to wait until we get the SOP on it. So, Stacy, do you have anything different on that? I know they're collateralizing it, but I thought they were lifting some of the collateral requirements.
So one of the SBA calls that they were doing that I was on,
Connie talked about it.
Yeah, they were on one of those calls, not our morning calls, but the ones that were open, that the SBA was just doing an open call information about this loan. I heard them say that they had increased that ceiling of collateral from 25,000 to 250,000.
Okay.
I haven't looked for documentation supporting that to verify if that's the case or not. But that was the last thing that I heard on one of the SBA calls.
And so what I would recommend is apply. Apply to the EIDL if you think you can use it. If you get accepted and approved, great. You don't have to take it. You can still look at the other programs and figure out which is going to benefit your business better. But there is a pipeline of time to get to an approval. And if they say, oh, well, it's waived under 250, great. If they say, no, we need collateral requirement, the other doesn't, so you'd switch over to the other program. So we're kind of working in a moving target. Rules are changing because the plan is to get people back to work and not make it as cumbersome and challenging, and to get to more yeses. There is no one in a political environment that doesn't want your business back and successful. So they are changing rules to make sure they're making it as successful as possible. So bear with them. Again, we're flying the plane and building it at the same time. It's a scary place when you as a business are going, wait, I don't understand. Slow down. Let's wait until we get more confirmation. Stacy and I are on calls all day long that the information is changing hourly, and we're trying to give you the best advice possible. So as you're filtering through information, so are we, and we're bringing it to you. So it may just be that you wait a little bit and make sure that the bank is ready to manage this program. You start gathering your documents and waiting for the firm details to come out if you want to make sure that you're then ready. So I think by next week, we're going to have a more solid footing on this. And then, things will continue to change, and we're with you on the steps.
So that the website that folks can find out this stuff, again, the website for Janice and Stacy and all the good folks at the SBDC is Sam Boy David Cat, SBDCmichigan.org. And you're going to find a lot of these things, if not all of them, laid out on there. The application for that loan you're speaking of, is that, I believe that's on there as well, or is that a SBA?
Yes, there's a link to, if you click on our COVID-19, there's a link to the active SBA sites on each of the programs.
Okay.
If you want to go direct to SBA, it's sba.gov/disaster. And right at the top, big yellow banner says COVID-19, apply for economic injury. Okay. Your EIDL and your emergency advance or grant is all in the same application.
Okay. We have quite a few questions coming in, so when we get a chance, we'll get to all of them here shortly.
Okay. Stacy, did you want to talk about the tax credits kind of loosely and cover anything else I may have missed? I bear with us. We're sorting through thousands of pages of information to document this to give you guys the right path.
Yeah, and again, a lot of the stuff is coming out of the CARES Act that was passed on Friday. So there's a lot of preliminary information, but then the actual agencies that have to implement it are now working to implement it. So, you may have heard about expansion of unemployment. So that was done at a federal level, but it's actually the Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency, the UIA, that has to implement it. So, there is a little bit of that lag time. So one of the programs that is included in the Act is it's a 50% payroll credit. So this would be in place of the PPP. And so you wouldn't be able to obviously get reimbursed for both. So you would, do one or the other. So how this one works is you would up to $10,000 per employee. You could have 50% of the wages that you're paying reimbursed through payroll tax credits. And then anything above, in addition that you would still need would be like a refund. So that is, I believe, an IRS
Yes.
program, and there's not a lot of information on the IRS, at least the last time I checked. So that's where the, I'm sure the IRS is still figuring out exactly how you would apply for that. So where I'm looking at that one is, let's say you are a business and you're still in operation, but at a much lower level because you're either your business dropped or you're not an essential business, or not all of your employees are essential employees. The PPP may not be a good option for you because maybe you're not able to bring back all of your employees, or maybe, like Janice is saying, they'd prefer to stay on unemployment, but maybe you still have some employees. So this might be a better option for you to still get some kind of reimbursement for the employees that you are paying. So that is one that I would go straight to the IRS website, and there is a little bit of information on there right now. Any of these programs that are out, if you go directly to the website, they're going to have right at the top COVID information here. So you just click on that. So go to the IRS website, click on the COVID information. There will be information about the check that we're all going to be getting in the mail. So that's one thing that's at the very top. They said it's coming. Don't call us, please. Information is coming. And then below that is information on this tax credit program that I was just talking about.
And again, everything's under construction. As she mentioned, IRS is writing the rules. You won't get that tax credit until you're filing taxes for 2020, which will take place in 2021.
So that what Stacy was just outlining is actually, I believe you said it's called the employee retention credit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one I think is actually, you would get it sooner than 2021 because it's payroll.
Okay.
Tax, which you're paying that quarterly, so that might be, it's similar if you have looked into the FMLA and sick leave expansion and the payroll tax credit that is used to reimburse that. I believe it's a similar process, and again, you obviously wouldn't be able to double dip that if you have an employee out on FMLA, but yeah, I think it's a payroll tax credit process.
How about, can we answer some questions here? Or?
Sure.
Okay, so Matt Welsh asks, is a 2% closing cost standard for the SBA disaster loan?
I hadn't seen anything on a closing cost. How about you, Stace?
I have not heard anything on closing costs. Most of what I've seen is there will be no closing costs. So
that's pretty much what I thought I saw too. And I'm researching my documents as we're talking, but I don't think that there was one. I'm not sure. Have you been approved?
So that's something that they can go ahead and apply, and they don't have to accept it if they're
correct.
So, but it might also be something that they actually make an appointment with one of the business consultants at SBDC and get clarification on that. Again, go to the sbdcmichigan.org and set up an appointment there. Go to schedule a business consulting. Next question is, this individual is asking that the CEO passed away and they had to start an LLC for their payroll that was separate from the business. The other half of the party may not be willing to take out a loan because the business was split into two entities. So I guess they could.
Okay. So would that be an EIDL question or a PPP question? They would have to determine which program would work for them, whoever, with the people in the LLC. If they don't want to take out a loan program, I would still apply. I believe that if you check yes for the grant, and again, I should caution this, we're waiting on confirmation, but we're of the understanding that you're eligible for that even if the grant is denied or the loan is denied. Is that what you've heard too, Stacy?
I may be getting my information from the same source as you, but yes.
Okay, that's what we're hearing. So when in doubt, you don't have to accept, but ask for the grant forgiveness. because we're hearing that they're trying to make sure that even businesses that might not get the SBA EIDL still can get some of that grant money.
So I've got a question. It's probably kind of specific, but it's somebody with the hospice and home health care business, and they're purchasing a large amount of personal protective equipment, PPE, for their staff in large quantities. Do you know if there's any state or county assistance if the cost goes too high on how they can get some help for that personal protective equipment?
Off the top of my head, no, but there's something niggling in the back of my brain that says MEDC had something about that on their website. I would look at the medc.org website and start there. You can also apply for counseling services with us, and we can try and research that and find out. I don't think specifically I've heard of anything for that.
Okay.
But if that's it would be a variable cost, so it's not going to cover under the working capital.
So somebody texted, and you may have answered this, but maybe they need clarification. It's, do I qualify for the PPP, the payroll protection plan, if I never laid off my employees?
Yes. Because you're keeping them employed and you're getting 8 weeks of them working where somebody else is paying the bill.
Mm-hmm. On the PPP application, it does not ask for an amount for rent, mortgage interest, utilities. How do those amounts get reported to be included in the amount of the loan?
I believe that they're going to ask for supportive documents. The application that's out and they put all over the websites that's on SBA letterhead still has to go through procedural changes, and we're not sure if there will be changes to that application at the bank. So we expect that the banks will probably ask for some kind of proof on the mortgage or the lease.
Can I add a clarification to that? So it sounds like the question is asking about the loan amount. The loan amount is only based on your payroll. So they're going to look at your average monthly payroll cost from last year, or if you just opened this year, they'll look at your average of January and February, and then your loan amount will be 2.5 times that. It's in the forgiveness part of that loan where your other expenses will come into play. And so you'll definitely want to keep those documented, because you'll need them to prove to the bank when you apply for forgiveness that you did in fact use the loans for those expenses. So that's why it's not on the application, because you don't need that information to apply.
Okay. Next question is, my question is, any idea on when local banks should be on board? My staff is currently in a holding pattern with filing for unemployment.
We have been told to wait until SBA comes out with their standard operating procedures. However, we also were told that there is a couple of banks on a training call today trying to get through some of the mechanics that they have to put in place as well. We're still hopeful it'll be on Friday, but right now we don't have an answer because they're still writing the operational procedures.
Here's a question that maybe we can answer. I don't know. If the employees go on unemployment, can they still keep their health benefit through their employer?
I
employer,
don't have that. I think it's up to the employer. I don't have that information in front of me, but I think it's up to the employer, because you're laying them off as a temporary, which I would think is going to be cheaper just to keep paying the insurance. But again, I can't answer that because I don't work for the unemployment team. What I would do is look at the fact sheet on Michigan.gov/UI and maybe call their helpline, although you're going to be on a holding pattern to get through to anybody.
The other suggestion I have is actually I'm a licensed insurance agent as well. And in my other profession, I work with a lot of businesses, but I would recommend that you contact the individual or the agency that where you purchase your health insurance plan from and ask them that question. And they should be able to help you answer that question as well. Okay, next question is, see here. Since my workman comp insurance is directly tied to payroll, if I use the PPP loan, is that also forgivable?
Let me just look at the language of what they said very quickly. Payment, vacation, parental, medical. It's not saying anything about workman's comp.
Okay.
It is also not saying anything about insurance on either of the proceeds or the eligibility. So that may be a question we can answer once this is implemented, but I don't have that answer right now based on what I have so far.
Okay.
Good question though, because I hadn't even thought that far ahead. Smart.
Right. Yeah. I think that's pretty well it. If anybody has any final questions while we're wrapping up, again, the cell number you want to text to is 248-408-0200. There is something I want to point out. We're going to try and, for people in our area here in the Grand Blanc area, we have put together a Facebook page called Grand Blanc Township Small Business Recovery Resources. Again, it's Grand Blanc Township Small Business Recovery Resources. And we will put the contact for SBDC, for the Genesee Flint Chamber, the MEDC, and other organizations that could be helpful to you trying to get through this shutdown, and any other information as it becomes available. We'll try and alert individuals to that. I have a question regarding healthcare for laid off employees. You know, it might make a difference, this person saying, are they laid off or merely furloughed? The distinction may make a difference regarding their healthcare eligibility. So something you may want to discuss with your healthcare provider or your, the insurance provider or your agent that you work with on that. I would think as a business person, if you have a health insurance plan, you have somebody that is the go-between between you and that healthcare plan. Another question, can we borrow for things like repairing a parking lot or updating equipment?
No, it is working capital only due to the crisis. However, you can go to your bank if they're an SBA provider and get a loan, a 504, which is equipment based, or a 7A for various other projects, and get that loan. If you get that loan, remember there's the 6-month suspended payment. That means somebody else is paying that. So if you know that when we go back to work that you have to have your parking lot done and you have the ability to get that loan, I would go and apply for a 7A direct and take the 6-month suspension that somebody else is paying for that.
So I don't see any more questions coming in right now. So we've been on this call for about an hour. Stacy or Janice, do you have some things you wanted to?
Yep, just I want to make sure that everybody goes to the sbdcmichigan.org website. Key button at the top is COVID-19. All the information is updating there. Second button as you scroll down from the main screen is trainings. We have webinars every day. We have an on-demand library. Very pertinent information regarding payroll. We'll be doing them on tax credits. We'll be doing on PPP. We want you having the best information, and we also are hosting roundtables so you get to ask questions, and it covers the whole state. And then if you need counseling, there's a button for Connect to Counseling. We have a Facebook page, Michigan SBDC, I-69 Trade Corridor. We will like you, you will like us. That's where we're pushing information also, and that we're here to help. You're not in this alone. I have never seen a more hopeful time by seeing how much effort is being put into getting businesses back on track from the federal level, from the state level, and from the community level. All the people on this line are in the same boat. We are fighting for our businesses and fighting to make the right decisions. And we're also suffering from managing this pandemic at a personal level. There is a graciousness that I'm seeing that is really, really positive and innovative and getting people. You have to think that your business is going to change the day they flip on the lights. It's not going to be like it was March 15th. It's going to be a new system. So start planning now. How are you going to market when we go back to work? How are you going to remind people that you're there, what you've done? How did you shift your production? What is the innovative products? What did you learn during this crisis? So keep being hopeful, keep moving forward, and you are not alone. There's a team of professionals in this state that are fighting really hard. I know I'm going to speak for Stacy and I because we're on the phone with each other at 7 in the morning and on the phone at 9 at night, on Saturdays, on Sundays. We're all here. The entire SBDC team of about 100 people are here to help. So, reach out. We're here. It's difficult decision making because there's so much information.
Stacy, anything that you would like to, I've got a couple of questions that have come in as well. So, but go ahead, Stacy, anything in those remarks that you would like to make?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Janice is saying is that, we are, working more than ever right now, doing everything we can to support everybody. And, and one thing that I'm talking to my clients, my longtime clients, my new clients that I'm meeting for the first time remotely now, is that, right now we're all trying to, figure out getting over this hump of cash flow. And so what my priority when having one-on-one conversations with business owners is really talking through all these different options, talking through their specific situation, and kind of brainstorming together what might be the best plan of action. And then maybe in a couple weeks when we're kind of past that initial crunch, I reiterate exactly what Janice just said is, okay, well now it's time to plan for this new future. It's a marketing plan, it's a new budget, it's a new cash flow projection. It's maybe talking about your products and your services and how do you maybe change what you're offering or how you're offering it for this new landscape. And those are all, we really, as consultants, we really shine when it comes to strategy and helping you, really come up with a plan. So this isn't just a one-time call and you're on your way. Like, we are here to support you for the long haul.
Very good. So, one of the things that I think, we want to caution people to not panic. And I know I received even some panic phone calls over the weekend of people that thought that the only money that was going to be available was this MEDC money, the 10 million in loans and 10 million in grants. And they were fearful that they hadn't found out about this grant in time and they were going to miss out on the boat. But I think, the message that all of us want to send is that there is money available. I guess if somebody has immediate cash needs, which program do you think will deliver some cash to them soonest? That's one of the questions.
I'm kind of leaning toward the EIDL, apply for that and say, yes, I want my emergency advance. I would also get on the online on-demand training that we offer. We have a webinar on cash flow management. There are a lot of ways to manage the cash that you are not going to be spending right now. So things like make deferral payments with your bank, try and work on negotiating with your landlord, call your credit card companies, call your car companies, conserve your cash. You're going to need that cash to get up and running. So until one of these programs comes in, save what you have. Very important to save what you have.
One final question, Janice and Stacy, is the PPP only available to us if we keep or recall 100% of our employees?
No, it's for how many. I mean, just look. I want to see if it's 100%. What they're trying to do is save as many. Yeah, you can only pick 2 or 3 that you want to use, right, Stacy?
You can get the loan. It's only forgiven if there's a it's a percentage. It's like for every, compared to where you were at staffing wise last year, for every like head count, you know, every one fewer, they're going to deduct how much you can get forgiven by like a sliding scale. But I mean, if you only have a couple employees right now, you can still get that loan. It's just that you won't have as much forgiven. And then you know, it turns into the terms that Janice mentioned earlier. So that's another thing that I have thought about. If you need cash immediately, and you can, as soon as that is launched, those lenders will be able to turn that money around super, super fast. And so if you don't care about having to pay it back, that's another way to get some cash pretty quick.
Okay. So we're hopeful that maybe by Friday, the banks will have some information. So you want to, it sounds like, you know, in closing, we want to urge people to start getting in touch with their accountants, their bank. Is there a list of documents that that folks can start pulling together that, you know, these entities are going to want and need, that you know, they could, if they don't have them handy? I know when somebody goes do their taxes, you know, you pull together all that stuff, and I imagine this is going to be similar.
SBA has really shortened the documentation process. They will be asking for them, but they're allowing you to click a button that says you can pull the tax documents from the IRS. Standard loan stuff might be financials from the last couple of years, tax documents. Really important, 2020. What is your revenue? What is your cost of goods for the last 12 months? Take a look at what that looks like, because that is one of the 2 financial questions on the shortened SBA app. 12 months, last 12 months, cost of goods, and last 12 months revenue.
Okay.
Okay. There will be I believe there's still a personal balance sheet that's required on the EIDL. And so pretty standard documentation, you know, where you are, what you owe, what you own type things. And then your liability list, who you owe money to, is going to be eventually asked for.
Good. Well, we really appreciate you both joining us today, and Tyler earlier from the chamber. But we appreciate all that you're doing to help businesses to survive this shutdown. It is very difficult for everyone. Our small businesses, you know, feed so many families in our communities that it's critical that we help our small businesses to survive this for our.
Yeah.
And
This is where we
well,
appreciate that. This is where we live, and this is where we work. And, you know, you as business owners are managing the crisis of how do we save your business? Don't forget to reach out to your employees who are having anxiety of how they're going to pay bills and how they're going to manage. There is a mental health challenge that everybody is facing, being locked up in their homes. Reach out. Don't forget that we're all human. We just need a little reach out that we're remembered. We know everybody's in crisis, but we're all human, and we're only going to get out of this together.
right. We're going to post this video on our Facebook page and at the township. So
I should have worn a better dress than my sweatshirt, but I figure I'm smarter when I'm comfortable.
You look great. We love that General Motors shirt. But
TMI.
yeah. But the bottom line is we appreciate all of you, and make sure you go to that sbdcmichigan.org site for lots of information. Stay in touch with the township. We'll try and share as many resources as we can as far as any updates that we can help both residents as well as business owners. So thank you very much. And maybe if you guys are amenable, we'll maybe follow up in a week and see where we're at, and update our business owners.
Yep, we can do that. Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Okay.
Take care.
Good afternoon. Bye.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thanks.